Hey, Russell Jennings here for Build Your Idea, and in this episode we'll be covering databases. Now, databases are everywhere in many different shapes and sizes. Largely, databases are interfaced with using SQL, a language of issuing commands to the database server and getting back results, or inserting data. Here's the Wikipedia page. You can kind of see what this says. It says update country. So population equals population plus 1, so it updates whatever there plus 1, wherever the name is USA. So it's fairly approachable, but it is a language. Largely, whatever you build will be using a database or something acting as a database to hold the data for your app. Sometimes it's just a file, other times it's just a whole cluster of machines. By far, the most popular database is MySQL. Although there is an open source alternative called MariaDB, which is a drop-in replacement and a more polished version. But really, Postgres has been gaining a lot of traction and has a lot of powerful features that can come in handy in your application design, like native full-text search or using fields as key value stores. Often, with the database, data gets normalized into various tables, such as one for a customer, one for a cart, one for some products, and so forth. Often you want to make it easy to search or load this data, as having to load everything involved could potentially take a while. Using something like Elasticsearch, you can essentially cache all the records involved and make loading them lightning quick. In addition, Elasticsearch makes searching, filtering, and data analysis really easy. There's also tools called Solr and Thinking Sphinx out there, but I've had a lot of success with Elasticsearch and would certainly suggest you give it a look. Something like Elasticsearch is used in addition to a regular database, although you could potentially use Elasticsearch as your primary database, although I'm not sure it's recommended. With Rails, we're essentially putting a bunch of code in front of a database in order to generate an HTML document to send back to the web browser. It takes what's in the database, generates an HTML document, and ships the document off to the browser. Here we can see a HTML document. Here's an HTML document just rendering out paragraphs, tags, with an item's name, an item's content. And that's all it is. It just generates this, inserts the value in, and ships it back. The four operations we typically do are create, read, update, and destroy, which conveniently somewhat map to what Rails handles with the views of view, new, index, edit. Although these are different mappings, you can still think of them as CRUD operations. Another benefit of Rails is that the framework maps so tightly to the database that it's rare we have to write any SQL. Largely, we just use the framework and it translates this into SQL calls behind the scenes when it needs to. For example, here's a show action, and it's just saying item.find params ID, which gets translated into a select from items where items ID equals 1 or whatever in SQL. We don't have to write that. Rails handles that for us. That's what makes writing Ruby on Rails applications so powerful and so quick. Anyway, that's a brief overview of databases. Until next time.